Growing up in Tulsa my whole life, I've watched as the local art scene has grown into a thriving community. The Tulsa art scene is much more expansive than people may realize, and has come a long way over just the past few decades. When someone thinks of Tulsa, I'm sure that art is not the first word that comes to mind. Yet the creative expression of the city can be seen all around. The buildings, the walls. Art is everywhere around the city, and downtown Tulsa in particular has become the heart of this creative movement. Tulsa is more than just a city that prospered off the oil boom. It's now a hub for creativity and home to many world-class artists. One of those artists is John Hammer, a pop impressionism painter from Tulsa whose vibrant twists on traditional imagery provide an immediate uniqueness to his works.
I think my style pretty much found me for the most part. When I started painting a few years back, the idea was to try to do photorealism, and of course not really knowing how to paint, I got frustrated with that and didn't really, capture the things the way I wanted to, and so I started loosening up and started adding different colors and just having fun with it, and all of a sudden it just kind of clicked, like, okay, that's what I like to do, that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
John Hammer is one of my favorite local artists because his unique style embodies what Tulsa art is all about. His paintings are bold and vivid, but also provide that level of familiarity. The same can be said about Tulsa art in general. It's the art that brings a richness to this city and makes it feel alive and energetic. The way the city has begun to embrace the arts has provided key opportunities for Hammer and many other artists alike.
To me, Tulsa is a very unique city in the sense that you can still be yourself and be, I don't want to say discovered, but you can kind of stand out. A lot of the bigger cities, it's harder to do that because it's a larger art market and a larger pool of artists. And so it may be more difficult to kind of get a footing and a bearing and get going. Tulsa seemed to be, at least when I started about 5 years ago, I kind of started at sort of the right time too, just as kind of the insurgence in the arts market, the Brady Arts District and things like that was coming together. And so I found myself in a good position to kind of jump on that and ride that wave through.
Tulsa has really began to welcome the arts as a major component of the city's identity. Local artists can promote themselves and find opportunities for success in Tulsa now more than ever. Take First Friday, for instance, a monthly art crawl that provides local artists all kinds of opportunities to sell and display their works. On the first Friday of each month, all the major art galleries and studios open their doors to the public to showcase the local talent. The event sees thousands of people flock to downtown, and once again proves that the public places a high value on art and creativity. One of the most prominent types of art developing around the city comes in the form of street art. The emergence of large-scale murals throughout downtown contributes to the liveliness of Tulsa and provides a noticeable wave of color and vibrancy to a city with a growing appreciation for art. These are not your amateur graffiti pieces. These are professional works of art. Look closely at these murals and you'll notice one commonality: the Clean Hands signature.
My name is Justin Bainey, and I am co-owner of Clean Hands with Aaron Wisner.
Clean Hands is a design and screen printing company based out of downtown Tulsa. They're also the group behind many of the large-scale murals around town.
So Aaron Wisner was looking for a studio partner to go in with. I knew Aaron through his brother through sports. It all happened through Jewish League basketball, and none of us are Jewish, but anyway, it just kind of happened to come about, and he asked me if I wanted to go in on a studio with him, and so he kind of came to me with a business idea, and we went with it from there. So a lot of the murals that you see around town from us are commissioned murals. So most of the work is done pre-mural. So revisions on revisions. The owner of the building usually comes to us and says, hey, we want you guys to paint a mural. And then we start with an idea. They start tossing out parameters where, basically here's what we want to stay in between those lines. And we try to always work with our client as far as those. But really it starts off with them coming to us, doing a commissioned piece, and then it goes from there.
It's the contributions made by Bainey and the rest of the Clean Hands crew that helps to bring more attention to the arts in Tulsa. What was once a small screen printing business is now one of the most unique and ambitious companies throughout all of Tulsa.
Tulsa's always had a great base of artists, and I think over the past decade, we've really gained a lot of support from the city as far as being allowed to paint these large walls. And I think that the older generation is starting to accept that the murals really do bring a vibrance to the city. It brings like a viral sensation sometimes. But I think that Tulsa doesn't try to be like any other city, and that's the main part that makes Tulsa cool. And I think that's what everyone thinks of is what does Tulsa, who does Tulsa want to be like? You know, they're trying to be Austin or they're trying to be Oklahoma City. I think Tulsa is just being itself, and that's what makes Tulsa artists great.
Tulsa has always had roots deeply vested in the arts. Influences from historical Cherokee art in the 1800s can still be found all around. And that Native American art remains the basis for which Tulsa has established much of its culture around. While art has always been prevalent in the area, the recent art boom has seen the emergence of new and perhaps more unconventional forms of expression. This is the Tulsa Glassblowing School, a location for novices and advanced glass artists alike to channel their inner creativity and self-expression in a hands-on form of art. Founded almost a decade ago in 2007, the Tulsa Glassblowing School lives in the heart of the Brady Arts District and offers open classes to anyone interested in the appeal of glass art.
My name is Jonathan Boulevard. I'm a full-time glass instructor here at Tulsa Glassblowing School. Well, the way our classes work are based on schedules, so it's kind of just we run classes whenever people schedule them. That's our main source of income. We're a nonprofit, and that's how we fund all our school programs that we do with elementary schools and whatnot. But we have classes every day, and when we're not doing classes, we're just making stuff.
Tulsa Glassblowing School has become a staple of the Tulsa art scene. It's the kinds of unique art like this that gives Tulsa its reputation as a growing arts city.
I think the downtown art scene is cool because it's still up and coming, you know. A lot of artists like myself were homegrown, you know. I went to high school here, I've been living here since I was like 6 months old, so, you know, Tulsa raised, and that's the way a lot of the art scene is here. I love local artists. We have a great music scene down here too. Amazing ceramics work that goes on here. We're kind of, you know, birthing a new arts place in Tulsa and downtown. And originally it was supposed to be an artistic town. You know, if you look at the buildings throughout Tulsa, there's a lot of Art Deco design going on. We're the Art Deco capital of America, or at least that's what we were called at one point. And so, you know, no slide on those tall rectangular buildings. They're cool, but I just think, you know, the people that put that time into the architecture and the design, you know, all the way down to like that old Mazzio's building on 8th and Elgin, there's some beautiful architecture with that, and that's stuff you don't really get to see everywhere you go, and especially in a city. Whenever this town was being built, someone had art in mind. You know, you can look at, you know, all the tile work that goes into the roofs on certain buildings, and this is supposed to be an artistic place, so I think the creativity is just thriving here, and that's what makes it so special.
Local art has become much more than just a novelty in Tulsa. It's now an integral part of the city's personality. Tulsa's art market is still growing rapidly, and it's up to us to support this movement and ensure that growth continues. It's easy to take for granted the talent that we see here in Tulsa, simply because there's so much of it. Tulsa may not be the largest city, but the artistry and workmanship seen here is comparable to anywhere in the country. It's a city that's not afraid to be different, a city that's full of opportunity, and a city that I'm proud to call home.